go ahead and erase that. All right, so now the next problem is a little bit more complicated because it gives us multiple vectors, okay? So it says Steve is going to a party and gets lost along the way. He drives 40 miles north, 13 miles east, 30 miles south, and 11 miles west. What is his displacement? When it's asking you for displacement, it's asking you for the resultant vector, okay? So that again means we're going to be doing this whole process, all right? So first step, let's write down all these vectors so we can reduce them to 2, all right? So it says Steve went 40 miles north. So I just drew this one north, 40 miles. It said went 13 miles east. So I know east is that way, 13 miles. Said he went 30 miles south and 11 miles west. Okay, great. So I got all of these done, all right? So what I do now, I know that I have 4 different vectors. That's no good for me. I need to reduce that to 2 vectors. So let's go ahead and do that. So 40 and 30 are north and south. I know that north and south is one plane. So I'm going to go ahead and combine 40 and 30, okay? So I'm just going to make my positive direction north, my negative direction south. So that means it's going to be 40 miles north plus a negative 30 miles south, all right? So when I combine it, that's going to equal 10 miles. And because the final answer is positive, I know that that 10 miles is going north, okay? So let me write all of my final answers over here. So I'm going to have 10 miles north as my resultant vector when I combine these two. Now let me go ahead and combine these two. So I'm going to say east is positive. Actually, let me flip this around just to, well, actually, I'll keep it that way. So let's say east is positive because it's 13. And let's say west is negative, okay? So 13 miles is going east, so that's going to be positive 13 miles. 11 miles is going west, so I'm going to do 13 miles plus negative 11 miles, okay? 13 plus negative 11 is like 13 minus 11, so it's going to give me positive 2 miles, okay? And because 13 miles is east, positive numbers are going east, so 2 miles is going east, all right? So we're going to draw a vector that way, 2 miles, okay? Again, if my final answer would have come out negative at this top one, my vector wouldn't be pointing north, it would be pointing south. But the final answer would still just be 10 miles. If my final answer came out negative over here, then my answer would still be 2, right? But instead of pointing east, it would be pointing west because I said all my negative numbers are meaning that it's going west, okay? So now I'm going to erase these. I have my final 2 vectors. That's all I'm interested in. And I'm going to go ahead and draw my little box. So I got 2 miles going this way, okay? And I have 10 miles going up. So I draw my 2 miles that way. Let me make it more realistic. 2 miles. And 10 miles is up. So I start at the tail, and then I draw my 10 miles up, okay? So 2 miles here, 10 miles up. Now I can finish my box and draw my diagonal. Sweet. So now this is the direction of the resultant vector. So that part is good to go. Now I need to finish my problem. So I identify a triangle, which I know that any perpendicular, so wherever this line touches the dash line, that's a 90-degree angle. So I can go ahead and make that my little box. That's 2 miles. I know that the diagonal is my hypotenuse C. And because these lines are parallel, I'm going to say, those are going to be equal to each other because it's a rectangle. So these parallel lines are equal to each other. So 10 miles over here, 2 miles down here. Doesn't matter which side I label A or which side I label B, okay? But I got to plug it into my equation. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Got to take the square root of both sides. So square root of A squared plus B squared. If I take the square root of this, it just equals C. So I'm just going to write C. A, I said, was 10 miles. So 10 miles squared plus 2 miles squared. Okay. That's going to give me 100 miles squared, right? I square my number and my units, plus 4 miles squared. Square root, that's going to equal C, that's going to equal C. So this means the square root of 104 miles squared equals C. So let's go ahead and plug that into the calculator. All right, so square root of 104 is going to equal 10.198. I like keeping up to 2 decimals, so let's just do 10.20 when we round it. And because we square root the units too, that just gives us miles. So now I have the magnitude of that vector, and then I also have the direction. Okay, so this was a long video, but we went through if you only have 2 vectors. Also, we went through if you have more than 2 vectors, how do you combine those, making your box, plugging it into the Pythagorean theorem to find your magnitude, right? The box helps you find your direction. Pythagorean's theorem helps you find your magnitude. You're always solving for C, the resultant vector. And just keep practicing and working with it. If you have any questions, let me know, and have a great day.